I find my perfect little way of isolating myself, but with like a small group, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like this 100, people all like swarming around you and chaos ensuing. Like, it's quiet sometimes. It can be laughter in the background. You're getting out, into the trail or onto the road. You're having a one-on-one conversation with someone. It's really special.
Welcome to another episode of Don't Quote Me. I'm sitting together with Sammie right now. We're going to be talking about friendship miles, and I'm really excited to dive into your side projects, what you do for a living, who you are as a person, all this kind of stuff. But let's start with the basics. How do you introduce yourself these days, and who are you?
Well, I'm Sammie Bennett, and when you guys gave me that question, I was like, oh. Like, I don't walk up to someone on the street. I'm like, hey, I'm Sammie. I love to run, and I like to do events in Grand Rapids and travel the world. It's like, I'm Sammie, and I'm kind of shy. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't know that because I've really learned this, like, extrovertedness that is actually a challenge for me. Mm-hmm. But if I have to give you a formal, hey, who am I in the world? I'm an outdoor enthusiast. I love to be outside. I love to travel. I'm a big activist for mental health, so you'll hear a lot about that today. As it relates to friendship miles, but that comes from my core. That comes from my own personal story. And yeah, I'm a sensitive being, and I like to make the world a little bit better if I can every single day.
That's really awesome. Okay, when you're talking about mental health and friendship miles, like, what the heck is friendship miles? Especially if you're trying to introduce friendship miles for the first time. What drew you to even starting a run club, if you want to call it a run club?
We can, for lack of a better term, call it that. Absolutely, that's what we do. And it's kind of a long roundabout story. But I joined a run club back in 2019. It's called Lion Tree Run Club, and it was extremely intimidating, and it was scary to show up. But I was just at a point in my life where I was like, I got to do something different. I need to face some fears, and that happened to be one of mine at the moment. But I was a runner at the time, so the running part wasn't necessarily the scary part. It was like, hey, if I show up in this space, will anyone talk to me? Mm-hmm. Can I keep up with these people? Am I fit enough? And had this complex that, like, maybe I wasn't. I just, like, run clubs seemed scary. Mm-hmm. But I did it anyway, and it was life-changing. People were incredibly kind. They were welcoming. I certainly had my own journey with trying to figure out how not to compare myself to other people. So I did things wrong with my running journey in that setting, but I also needed to learn those lessons on my own. And fast forward a couple of years later, one of the leaders of the group was moving to Portland, Oregon, and she approached me and asked if I wanted to take her place. And I was like, oh my God, no. I said,
you're like, actually, no.
I just was like, that like could not be me. As I said, I'm shy to my core. I didn't have confidence, and I was just like, I see what you do every week, and that is very scary. I'm happy just to be here. But after I said no, I went home and I couldn't sleep. Like, I thought about it for the next couple of days, and I was like, man, like, don't be an idiot. Like, this is an opportunity. And, the worst that's going to happen is it's not for you, and you have to, find someone else to replace you or whatever. And so I was in this whole facing fear journey, and I did it. And I'm really glad that I did. Again, just like constantly surprising myself in this space. But once I stepped into leadership, I started noticing things from a different lens. I'm like paying attention to people, and I'm like, man, this is the best place in the world. I've met so many friends. I feel really great. I go home, I'm energized. And so I'm talking about this with my non-running friends, and I'm just like, you guys, this is the answer to everything. And they're like, what?
They're like, what? Running? Yeah, it really exactly. Is the answer to everything?
Especially at 6 a.m. and it's right. Tuesday morning in the winter sometimes.
Yep.
They're looking at me sideways. They're like, look, like, you go do that. I'm really glad you found it. Not for me. And I'm like, okay. And the more I had conversations outside of my community and just talking to people at Run Club, I realized that the, like, image of running was exactly what I experienced as I went into it, but I had forgotten that because I had such a good experience going into it. But not everybody does. Mm-hmm. And so while I'm, observing the community, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm noticing also some barriers here. Mm-hmm. There's lots of barriers. There's lots of people that aren't in this space. There's people that don't believe they belong in this space, and I really wanted to take that a step further. So I asked the guys, I said, hey, I want to start another group, because I lead Lion Tree with a couple other guys, and I was like, is that conflict of interest? Are you guys okay with that? Like, I want to pursue a nonprofit. And they were like, yeah, do it.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I took a lot of lessons learned, and I still lead Line Street to this day. And then I launched Friendship Miles in 2023. We became an official nonprofit in February of 2025.
Oh, wow.
Took 18 months.
Yeah.
And I had no previous experience with nonprofit work. My only experience with organizations was Line Street Run Club and some event planning background. But I just kind of put my foot forward, and there were a lot of things that went wrong. And there were a lot of times where I was like, why am I doing this? You know, it's Saturday mornings and giving up weekends and all of that to do these events and not really sure where it was going to go. But it's grown, and it's continues every time we have an event, continues to just fill my cup and remind me why I do it, because I watch all these people have such an amazing experience, and I'm like, okay, we're not just running, by the way. If I've lost you with the word running so far, I'm sorry, because there's so much more to it. Like, that's
Right.
the vehicle. That's what gets people into the space, but all of the other things that are going on in there, whether it's you meet a new friend, you are seen by someone you needed to be seen by, you interact with someone who changed your morning, you come back and you have another great experience, you talk about it with your people, you know, it's this like ripple effect of just like goodness. And it's also not just about our physical body, it's our mental body. So all of our events are collaborative. We don't do anything solo, so we're partnering with local coffee shops, other nonprofits. We partner with Honor Credit Union for financial education, counseling services to help get people connected to therapy if they need it.
Wow.
So again, yeah, running's the word, right? But we're like, there's just so much more happening within that community too.
So obviously there was an intimidation factor when you first started this journey.
Yeah.
If you were gonna like position the problem that Friendship Miles solves, like if you were gonna kind of try to distill it down, what is the problem that you're trying to solve with Friendship Miles? Is it that intimidation factor? Is it the barrier, or is it the other things that come alongside the not just running part?
Yeah, it's a handful. So we have an amazing running community in West Michigan. We have a group that meets every day of the week, different times, different locations, different levels, different experiences, trail, road, all of it, right? It exists. One thing, and the reason why I was so passionate about creating a nonprofit was because I didn't want to take up more space as another group and take away opportunities for people to go see these other groups. I wanted it to be a place of education, not just for an individual who's coming. You know, okay, we can teach you how to run, we can teach you how, you know, to move your body, we can give you all these resources, right? That's great. But some of these other groups that are existing, you know, within the community that are trying to be inclusive, or they're trying to maybe stand out a little bit different with actionable items where it's like, okay, we don't leave people behind. Everyone's included. We don't care. All faces, all paces. They're really like cool words, and in theory they sound amazing, but without the action behind it, they kind of fall off, and someone will have a bad experience. And it kind of broke my heart, because I watched that happen sometimes even at Line Street, where we were like, we've talked about our values, we say these things, and we have to implement action. What does that look like? So the only way we could do that, one, was putting our heads together as leadership. But then I want to take a step further with Friendship Miles, and I was like, oh, we can also interview our community, and we can learn what they want, what they need, what barriers exist. We can learn about what language to say, and then what action you need to do on the other side of those words to make that, you know, to have integrity with it. So it wasn't that I want to sit here and dog these other groups. They're doing amazing things.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's just you don't know. You kind of live in your little bubble, and you made it. You made it to the group, and you're like, cool. Like I now I see the benefits of that. If it works for you, great. But there's a handful of people that walk into those spaces and it doesn't work for them for various reasons. And so we just wanted to bring awareness. We want to say, hey, like, this person exists in the world, and they might need you to say hey to them, or they might need this resource to be able to do what you do very easily here.
This makes a ton of sense. And also when it comes to the things that are like on your website, for instance, like we've got words that are inclusivity, diversity, empathy, integrity, which is a word that stood out big for me, and then connection. How do you find yourself like actually embodying those in the actions that you guys are doing when you're meeting or at one of your events or when someone new shows up?
Yeah. We don't always get it right. We started with those values. Those haven't changed since day one because we wanted to live into them. So, there have been a lot of times where we've been humbled, but the best thing that we have been able to do is talk to our community. So we have a program. It's called Until Every Runner Belongs. And this program is a storytelling one. So we actually sit and do similar stuff that we're doing right now. And we sit down and we ask these thoughtful questions. And people that are willing to share their story and their experience, they'll, down to personal, down to running, down to mental health. And they talk. And then we give them a platform. So we give them a platform to share who they are in the world. And that's taught us more than anything, is just, oh, wow, that person has persevered past that barrier, past that thing to make running a part of their life. And they might need this extra support to do that. So we can actually now use some of our grant funding, or maybe we can reach out to our community and say, hey, like, we need to have this kind of resource within this space. So that's number one. We do events once a month. They're on Saturday, so we try to make that a day that's accessible. Saturday around 8:30 in the morning. We try to ensure that all of our routes are runner friendly for all kinds. So we make them stroller friendly, wheelchair friendly, kid friendly. We have beginner mile. We have a walk, so if people aren't ready to run, they can always just come walk. 3-mile routes up to 6, sometimes 10-mile routes if people are doing endurance events. And within each of those routes, we enlist what we call route captains. So we prepare and train our route captains ahead of time. What their job is essentially is to take their group of people that they're going to go out and run with, identify who the group is. They do question of the day and an introduction, so everyone kind of has a moment to have like an icebreaker and get to know each other. And then they'll make sure that they run what we call the caboose. So they're at the back. Sometimes we have up to 2 route captains, so one can kind of hang up front if they need to. But no one will be left behind. Like, you're going to run with somebody. And not only are these route captains embodying all of these values, we have gotten to a place now, after doing this for 3 years, because we talk about it all the time, that our community is also doing the same thing. So we have the designated route captain, and they're kind of the go-to, but everyone that's been to Friendship Miles more than once, they're kind of like, cool, yeah, this
is how we do things here. Yeah. I
kind of look at Friendship Miles as a verb, it's an action we're taking. We're running at a conversational pace where you can meet a friend.
Okay. Well, it sounds like at its core, maybe Friendship Miles is about helping people first, not necessarily about running.
Correct.
Yeah, maybe, so the running seems like it's actually a vehicle for helping people. Why do you think the community care portion of that is so important today, especially with the nonprofit that you're running?
Yeah, I think so many people are looking for a place to belong. And I think a lot of people, I think as adults, it's harder to make friends. It's harder to find that sense of belonging, especially if you've been isolated any time in your life. I think a lot of people are living kind of in a digital world, which it's great in some ways to have access to a lot of information. But at the same time, it can create a lot of fear, to go do something.
Isolation, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it's critical. I think it's critical to have these places that don't I'm trying to think of the right word. I think it's important to have these places that don't isolate these people from it. So if we're already finding isolation in all these other spots online and in our heads, why would we want to show up to an event and then experience that as well?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. The helping portion is crucial. It's critical. Plus, it's just about our safety. We're out there recreating on sidewalks sometimes and trails. We want to make sure no one's getting lost. We want to make sure that people aren't getting hit by cars, or, there's other things that are going on physically as well. So if we're looking out for each other, that's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. So I do want to return to the intimidation factor around running, because I think that it's a big thing. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to do a couple of races in my life. And I'm one of those people that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all the way type things. But I know that not everybody's built that way, especially when it comes to running. And I didn't run my entire life until, 4 years ago. But getting around that intimidation factor, how have you worked to remove maybe some of that intimidation and make the movement feel possible for people? Obviously you've got people that are going to be the caboose, like you were talking about. It sounds like there's captains, and the culture in general is really about helping people. But maybe talk about, how do you help people move past the intimidation factor just to even show up for the first time?
Yeah, it's repetitive inconsistency of our language and our invitation. we don't take the invitation lightly. It's not just like, hey, just show up, you know, like just come and you'll see how great it is. You know, it's like we try to create that image, whether it's through photo, video. We've got a month or a weekly newsletter, I should say, and in that we tell stories, and we're constantly saying like, hey, if you're scared, like we call it out. If you're scared, that's normal. Everybody has been nervous coming here for the first time. We even sometimes call it out in person. Say like, hey, who's a little nervous to come this morning? And you know, people that are feeling vulnerable and they're ready to share that, like you'd be surprised. It's like 80% of the people are like, yeah, I was nervous. And I get nervous still. I'm standing up there and, you know, I'm like, man, I'm talking to these people, like I'm in my head. It's very easy to get caught up in your head and, you know, get away from your body. And yeah, I think that that's just, for me, I think something that I can relate to. And so it's very easy to talk to in so many ways. And so I'm like, I'm just going to write this little blurb in our newsletter today, and we're going to keep that messaging going throughout that. We also try to like make sure, you know, we have a what to expect so that people can remove some of the fear of like, where do I park? Like, where is the route going to be? We provide those routes ahead of time. Safety and
It's a lot of thoughtfulness going on here. Yeah, like I've been to some run clubs, and sometimes just like, hey, we're gonna run a route. Like, where are we going? We'll find out when you get there.
Yeah. And I mean, and it can be that simple. It can, and we do sometimes, but we also know that there's anxious people out there, and there's people that aren't going to show up unless they have that information, or if our DMs aren't open, and they don't, you know, they feel brave to ask questions. That's another thing too. I think some people are like, oh, this might be a stupid question. I'm like, no, it's not, because some people don't know. Some people don't know what's going on in these groups. And it takes sometimes, like, you know, like 10 times going to be like, oh yeah, like, hey, I got this. This is like riding a horse or riding a bike, whatever. Like, you know, you figure it out. But a lot of people are sitting at home watching from afar, and they're already assuming they don't belong there because of the nature of what we're doing. So I try to break that down and kind of like remove, yes, we are running, we're walking, but like there's so much more going on here too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay. As a nonprofit, I'm sure that you, especially for grants, you have to have measurements of success. But I'm super curious for you personally, how do you define success for those people that join Friendship Miles? Like, is it in the miles that you've ran, the consistency, the confidence that you're instilling, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's definitely, for me, I talk to so many cool people at these events, like people I would have never met. And I get so many messages on the other side, and that to me is our measure of success. It's like someone came, they were brave enough to come, they were like, we're gonna face this fear, and they walked away and they were like, that's a spot for me. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for creating this space. Like, I walked in, didn't think anyone would talk to me, and you said hello, or someone else. Like, I can kind of clock people that are new. I don't know everyone, but like I can kind of clock them. They're kind of hanging out on the side, you know, maybe like by themselves, and I'll go start walking over to say hi to them, and somebody else has already done it because they know what that's like to show up for the first time. So that to me is success, when our community is like living our values, and we don't have to like be like every time be like, hey, do this thing. It's like they're just doing it because they just know that that's what we do. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's sticking, and it's been 3 years. You know, it does take time. We have a lot. We're still quite young, and we have a lot ahead of us, but yeah, it's sticking, and people understand why we're doing what we're doing when they walk into a Friendship Miles event.
That's really cool. I like that you're not just distilling, but also like kind of living out those values in a way that is approachable for people. I mean, it sounds like, and not me, I'm like, I gotta come to a Friendship Miles event, because like this sounds like it would be a wonderful time. And also, like, if it's the helping side, but also the vulnerability side, the fact that a lot of people there are looking to actually have each other's back. Like, running is typically a very solo, lonely endeavor. And like, say if you're training for a marathon, you're going to be having to do some miles by yourself. That's just like part of the game.
Sure.
Even if you're in competition and there's a bunch of other people around, it's still you that's got to do the thing. But it sounds like you guys are doing your best to create connection regardless of what you're trying to do from a running perspective.
Totally. Yeah. Everyone has different goals when they walk up, you know, whether they are that marathoner, or this is their first time ever running a mile, or they're just there to walk. You know, we don't separate people based on their goals. We're kind of like, hey, we're all here for the same reason, and we can talk about that as we move along, but there's no need to compete, right? Like, we're kind of here just having fun, and we try to bring the fun aspect back into it all.
Cool. No, I love that. Okay. I want to go towards the mental health space, especially because that's something that you seem very passionate about. But I would love to approach it through the physicality side of, you know, obviously running is a very physical thing. You need your whole body for it. But help us understand the connection between physical health and mental health and how those can be tied together.
Yeah. You know, endorphins are crazy. Adrenaline's crazy. It's really cool. There's a lot of cool chemicals that like run through our bodies, and they can be boosted by that movement. And I think a lot of time, like I mentioned isolation earlier, and I have been one to known to be kind of like I'm behind my Instagram, doom scrolling, and like this is easy. I can sit here and I can lay here and I can just go. You know, like everybody's a victim to that at some point in their life. But I don't feel good after I do that. You know, I don't usually get a ton from that. It doesn't fill my cup. But when you go and you push yourself to go to an event, I don't care if you're walking, I don't care if you're running, you move your body, you get outside, you talk to somebody new, you have a really inspiring conversation, you're gonna feel good. I mean, you just will. So, you know, we could talk about the why behind all that all the time, but you know, as humans, like it is in our nature to move our bodies. It's in our nature to be outside. We absolutely need connection, whether you're on the spectrum of being super introverted or extroverted, like you still at some point need some kind of connection. And I think, again, for my introverts out there in the world, I am definitely more of an introvert. I have to push myself to get out, but I do get my cup filled at a Friendship Miles event because I find my perfect little way of isolating myself, but with like a small group, right? It's not like this 100, you know, people all like swarming around you and chaos ensuing. Like it's quiet sometimes. It can be laughter in the background. You're getting out, you know, into the trail or onto the road. You're having a one-on-one conversation with someone. It's really special. It's really special stuff. And I've seen people meet their friends at this event, and now they're lifelong friends, right? Like I'm watching them hang out outside of a Friendship Miles event, grabbing coffee or going, you know, being a bridesmaid or something like really cool like that. And I'm like, man, they would have never met if they didn't come to this thing. So yeah, I look at the physical aspect a lot. Like it's great for your body. And it's doing so much for your mind at the same time. And we could have a whole conversation around like overdoing it too, right? I mean, you've said yourself you're a runner. There's absolutely a line sometimes that you have to draw where you kind of go, okay, I love the way this is making me feel, and I have to kind of reel it in a little bit because our bodies aren't machines. They need so much to sustain this.
Way
type
more
of
rest
practice.
than I would like. Yeah.
Yeah, they genuinely do. And it's like, you know, I think sometimes you latch on to that really good feeling and you want more. So it's like, okay, I'm going to keep doing more and more and more. And then you have to find that balance. And that's what we hope to teach people at Friendship Miles is like running slower to run faster, or running slower to run with a friend, meet a friend, is doing so much more for you than just like sending it every single day and just going off, you know, on your own. But yeah, super passionate about it. It's changed my life. I mean, I could geek out about it all day long, and I know it's not for everybody, but the friends that I've met and the things that I've experienced within that community have been life-changing, and it's essentially why Friendship Miles exists. You know, I saw so much in myself in some of these other people we were talking to, and I was like, we're all really a lot alike. You know, we have different problems, we have different circumstances, but at the end of the day, our basic human needs they're very similar. You know, we can kind of solve some of that within that community.
That's so much fun. That's really cool. All right. How many, this is more of a personal question. It's not definitely tied to like the Friendship Miles, but now I'm curious because obviously you've been a runner a long time.
Yeah.
So now I'm just curious, like, what is your favorite race? Is it a 5K? Is it a 10K, 25? Is it a marathon?
Yeah.
Or is it actually doing like one of those run walks with a buddy where you're just yapping? Do you have a favorite?
I do. I don't say this to be like, this is what you have to do to be a runner and successful in running. I love a half marathon in the trail, usually on a mountain, because of the views. It's not accessible for everybody, and it's amazing. But I've had some of the coolest conversations at Friendship Miles where I've stopped to walk with someone, or I've slowed myself down, where maybe I wouldn't have done that. And I'm like, with that was way more fulfilling than hitting whatever pace or goal or mileage that I needed to do. So yes, I have my like quote unquote view of running that I love and that fills my cup, but truly just some of these conversations you have with someone where they're like, man, you didn't have to wait for me. Like, please don't. Like, just go do your thing. And then I'm like, no, like this is great. Like, I don't want you to be alone. And they're like, oh, okay. And then we have a conversation, and then just like this connection, and it builds. And now they are doing it for somebody else. You know, it's like, yeah, it's really cool stuff.
You inspire me about the trail running side. I've got a brother-in-law who's done some really long races on the trail, and he says they're way better than any of the street runs, mostly because of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The views and the experience is substantially different when you're out in nature and running than it is when you're just like running down a sidewalk
and
somewhere.
lots of permission to walk. I mean, not that you shouldn't, you can have that on the road, but I feel like there's something with our minds where we're like, no, you can't walk. But in the trails, like you hit a hill, you like, unless you're like elite level, you're walking.
Gonna walk.
You're hiking at that point, and it's beautiful.
It might be a brisk hike, but you're walking a little bit.
Trail running taught me that. You know, that's how you slow down.
That makes a lot of sense. Cool. Thank you for answering that, because my personal curiosity, I was like, well, now I want to know. That makes a ton of sense. Okay, what goals or dreams do you have for Friendship Miles over the next 5 years?
It's changed. So when I first started this, I was like, I want a Friendship Miles chapter in every major city. I want to travel the world, and I want to do collaborative events with run clubs, maybe do some collaborations with some races. And I like really went like hard on that for a little while. And then I was like, oh, this is not sustainable. Like this is going to be a long road. You know, we got to slow it down. And I kind of just peeled back the layers, and I was like, you know what we do really well is local coffee shops and a 1 mile run, a 3 mile run, and a walk. We do that really well. Like, it's very accessible. We have really great partners here locally. And I was like, building relationships to grow takes time. You know, asking people for money, that's not easy. It doesn't just like fall in your lap. Once you get nonprofit status, you don't get all the grants. They don't come, you know,
it's
flying
not an
in.
easy road.
It's not easy. And I had to really sit down and ask myself that question, because I had left my corporate job to start Friendship Miles.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like burnt out, and I really wanted to I needed to do something in the world that was different than what I was doing. And this was what was calling me at the time. And it was absolutely the right choice. Leaving corporate was right. I had to find myself getting back into corporate, because I was like, it's not sustainable to take care of myself, which is fine. I want this group to take care of other people. So I had to get another full-time job. But as someone who's doing all of Friendship Miles, it was just not sustainable with the goals that I had set initially. So these days, you know, I'm all about just like the slow road, and we're doing great, you know, with what we have. We don't need a lot. We've received some really generous grants. We have great partners through Honor Credit Union, through Gazelle Sports, through Hoka, Lululemon. Like we are doing really well. And I think just continuing down that path where what's sustainable for me right now, and continuing to make these in-person events and continuing to build these relationships with these different organizations and coffee shops, and I watch it grow slowly, you know? So the goal in 5 years is just to continue that. You know, we received our largest grant to date, like a month ago, and 3 months ago, I didn't even know that it had existed. And so I just try to tell myself, you know, keep an open mind, just keep putting yourself out there, keep doing the events, enlist people that are also passionate about the cause to come and help at a volunteer level, or you know, I have a co-leader, Ben, and couldn't do it without Ben. Ben just came in.
Shout out, Ben.
Yeah, Ben just came into the mix about a year ago, you know. So I keep telling myself, like, the growth will happen if I keep living into our values and I keep doing what we're doing. So my goals are not concrete. They're not certain. And some people might say, hey, you need to write down what you want and it'll come. And it's kind of like, yeah, I do that in some degree, but I have a high level, like, because when I really latched on to the idea, I found myself like kind of defeated and like low and kind of wanting to give up. And that kind of broke my heart. So I'm trying to just like open up my mind a little bit more to it all.
That makes a lot of sense. And also sometimes when you latch onto something, you can't see beyond that one thing or the possibilities that might be right next to it, or you got to kind of broaden the lens sometimes so that the momentum can keep happening for your organization.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, you got to fall down and learn and get back up and take those lessons forward.
Yeah. So you dropped some names there: Lululemon, Hoka, Gazelle. Those are some like serious partners when it comes to this. What is maybe some advice that you'd give people that like I do feel like culturally right now, run clubs in general are definitely having a moment. Like
They are.
it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are starting them. There's a lot of people that want to do them. There's people that like, obviously want to get sponsored and do big races and travel the world, like all that kind of stuff. What is advice that maybe you would give as someone that not only has a run club but also has a nonprofit around it, that you're like, hey, maybe explore these things before you just like head first dive in?
Yeah.
Or even like maybe go join another run club to see what it's like. Some
Yeah,
practical advice. Maybe.
yeah, like I think staying curious. I think again, I had reached for like the big goal initially because I just like, I don't know, just felt right at the time. And when I reeled myself back to kind of like focus more on local businesses and local partners, it was when I found that was more accessible. The conversations were easier to connect to. All of these partnerships were a long time coming. Like I'd been working with Gazelle at a personal level prior to, so that was easy for me. Same with Hoka, but yeah, I found my partnership through Lululemon through a friend Alyssa, by going to her run club. And so I think it's just, you got to put yourself in the rooms where things that you want are happening, and you have to meet people, and consistency, like you start getting noticed by putting yourself out there, whether it's online or in person. And it's a networking thing sometimes. And also sometimes it's like shoot your shot, send someone a message and just see what happens. But yeah, I think the dream for a lot of people in this social media world is like, how can we build an audience and how can we get the most views and be seen and then get sponsored? And it's just the reality of that is it is kind of saturated. It's not impossible, but sometimes coming back to like what's closer to your surroundings is best.
Cool. I mean, honestly, there was a lot of really good advice in what you just said right there, especially like the relationship side with patience, and then also consistency.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people really obviously like catch the shiny object and they're like, oh, this is the thing. And then after 6 months, it's like, oh, that thing is no longer there. And the continued ability to show up really can make or break something.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had to learn in my own way. I used to create a ton of social media, and I loved it. It did fill my cup, but after a while, the time of it all started to weigh on me. The editing, and I was like, oh man, I want to be out in the world. Like creating content is so important. Sometimes when you're building a brand or you're building a business, it is very crucial. But I was like, the best stuff that I've done is in person. Getting out into the events, talking to people in real life, like creating something cool. Like I've created a really cool event with Gazelle Sports and Hoka that's now going on year 3 called Glide with Pride. It's so awesome. And just the way it's evolved together as a partnership, it's kind of like at this point we kind of figured out we do it 3 times a year. But that took time. It took a lot of time. It took probably 4 or 5 years.
When's the next one?
October 31st.
October 31st. Okay, cool.
Halloween.
Halloween. Okay. What does the event look like? Because I've not been to one of your events, so I'm just super curious.
So like I said, they're all collaborative. They're all with other people. So my favorite events, actually, we're supposed to have one tomorrow. We'll see about what's going on in the world. But parks are my favorite place to host. Or coffee shops. Lantern, shout out Lantern. That is one of our top partners in the community. But we'll usually create the route around whatever partner or location that we're at. And we're big on the social aspect. So we're like, yes, we're here. We're going to move our bodies. You're going to walk. You're going to run. You're going to meet a friend while you do that. But we really want you guys to hang out afterwards. So we'll have a social, whether it's coffee, food, giveaways, all of that kind of stuff happens. And people stick around. This is what blew my mind the most, is that I'm like watching people like hang out for 90 minutes after they're done running to like have a coffee and like hang out with people. And that really grew at Outside Coffee Co., RIP, when they were still a thing. The garden. People love to sit out there and hang out, and we were like, man, we could do this in so many different places. So that's what it looks like.
RIP for real though. Outside Coffee is lovely.
I know. So missed. But they've got picnic now. We're good. But yeah, 8:30 in the morning we start. We're very casual start. So if you're a type person who's a little bit late for things, don't worry, we got you. Probably won't start till like 8:45, 8:50. You get to pick your distance, and then we'll take a group photo. You will have to speak for 2 seconds to say your name and answer a question, but it's pretty like low stakes. It's like, what was
Approachable.
your, yeah, it was like, what's your like favorite flower if it's like summer, stuff like that, whatever. What's your favorite drink? And then, yeah, we go out and have a good time. And then
Very
hang
cool.
out.
Very, very cool. Okay. How can people that are watching and or listening to this get involved and or participate? What's the best way to get a hold of it? Is it just to show up at an event, reach out on a DM? Like, what's the best way to get involved?
We try to be in a bunch of different places. So for the people that aren't online, we do, or like I should say social media, we do have a website, friendshipmiles.com. And then we are on Instagram. That is like, we're very active. So if you need to DM us, ask questions, we'd love to have you, reach out. And we do Facebook events, Strava, if you aren't on any of those things. Strava has events as well. And if you're really like not dialed into any of that stuff, if you hit up our website, we have a newsletter. And there's a bunch of information. We don't only just share stuff about what we're doing as an organization. We've got all the run clubs, the days that they meet and where they meet as well, and links to their groups too.
Cool. Very, very cool. Okay. Before we move on to the soapbox moment, which we'll probably shift just a little bit for that, but what is something that maybe you had hoped I would have asked about Friendship Miles that I didn't ask you about, if anything?
That's a wild question. How much fun do we have?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I feel like you've really done a good job of nailing that, but also like maybe talk about some of the way that fun actually is a kind of a value maybe for Friendship Miles, because that's something that does seem to stand out. Because obviously everybody's built different. Some people are like, no, the competitive side is how I have fun. And I'm like, really? I don't know if that's true, but that's not for everybody, obviously. But how do you guys have fun?
Yeah, we're trying to bring the joy back into it all. I think a lot of people are like, man, I had to run laps when I was in trouble in gym class, or like for sports or whatever, or as punishment. So yeah, we have a lot of smiles, a lot of like laughter. So I'm the like pragmatic person between Ben and myself. I'm kind of like, okay, I do the organizing, I make sure everyone's got what they need, links to the routes, blah, blah, blah. Ben's the fun one. So Ben's funny. Ben will crack a joke. Ben will, just kind of get everyone in the good mood. And like that yin and yang is amazing. Even out on the routes too. Like we're going to make you laugh out there. We're going to ask you to pose. If you're willing to be on camera, we might do like fun jump or like cool pose for the camera. Which just like, we're trying to like bring back the feeling of like what it's like to be a kid, even though we're a bunch of adults. It's like, we're going to like go run through the park and we might see a slide like, hey, you should go down that slide, or like take a pause for a photo, like, yes, we're here to finish the 3 miles, but like, we don't need to be like, we're trying to PR at Friendship Miles, we're trying to like have an experience. So we want to see the cool things that are happening in the city or in the trails or what have you. But yeah, that's it. We just try to bring that lightheartedness into it.
That's awesome. I love that. Why is access to physical health so important? What can be done to shape the conversation of running as healing for any and all communities?
Yeah. This question is important, and it could go on for a long time. The access to physical health, just getting outside, moving, all of that it saves lives. I mean, like point blank, I know it sounds like super heavy, but like, we aren't saving lives, and in essence we are, but just having access to it is. And I didn't really realize this until I started doing a lot of this work and leading these groups, that not everybody has access in the way in which I have in my life. And that just like lives inside of me is an issue, because I think about my childhood, having access to my yard to play in sports, and the safety that I had doing that. And that's not promised to everybody. And it's people suffer because of it. People that feel like they can't walk out their door, lace up their shoes, go for a run without, being harmed in some way, whether that's their background, where they're living physically isn't safe. Just time of day, can make or break it. Having access and clean air, that's also a thing too. I work with an amazing individual at Lions Run Club. He leads with me. He works for an air quality company, and they do amazing work putting up infrastructures around the city, and it shares the air quality in real time. And he just, shares with me in certain areas, parts of even Grand Rapids where the air quality is not great. And that over time impacts people, right? So There's some systemic things that are in place, and I can't fix it all, but there's like at a local level of, you know, politics, what we can be doing with some small organizations to understand what those are. There's this really great, you know, feature of heat map. Like you can kind of see where people are recreating outside, and we try to sometimes add to the heat map by going to places that people might not run and show them these places are runnable and why they're runnable, and create safe routes for them to do so, so that people maybe that can't access our events just because of location, they have an opportunity to also like get in a different neighborhood and see what's going on. Because I find that Grand Rapids is an amazing place in a ton of different neighborhoods, but there are some neighborhoods people won't go to just because of it's unfamiliar, it doesn't look good, or whatever's in their head, but very runnable. And so yeah, we try to partner with great businesses and parks and all that to make that accessible.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on this show, Don't Quote Me. I'm kind of blown away by your passion and your heart for this. This is my first time meeting you, and like I'm getting goosebumps just trying to reflect this little time that we got to spend together. I can clearly tell that you have a heart for this, a passion for this, and clearly a drive to help other human beings. And I think that is the thing that's going to make the world a better place. To go back to your first question, like, and who you are as a person and what you're trying to do. And if anything, I just want to encourage you to keep this up. And it's definitely making me like, I got to come to this event in October. Tomorrow, with our air quality right now, probably not going to happen. But I really admire what you're up to, and I hope to just encourage you to keep doing it. And thank you so much for being on this with us, and we're really grateful for your time.
Thank you guys so much. It was amazing to meet you, and yeah, love it. And we have events in August too.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah, sweet. I'll have to come to that too then. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.